question here is also that as things become more centralized, right? Obviously, it's very difficult to expect, say, people sitting in the US, in San Francisco, to understand what happens, let's say, in Gujarat or in Chennai, in India. And I mean, it's difficult even with staff here. Uh, you're adding the complexity by centralizing everything with one office. What does this mean for a social media platform that already in India it's quite difficult to run a social media platform, but when you remove all kind of local cultural nuances, what does that mean for such a platform in the future?
Yeah, so I think it would mean that it would be less locally relevant, right? It would be far more, I would say, standardized and global, because a small set of people sitting in the US will take a decision that will have impact on all countries, not just India, right? So that's a given. Also, if you think about it, why they are doing it, I think at this point in time, Elon seems to be consolidating and also sort of streamlining and also changing many things, right? And I think in that sense, it does make sense for him to sort of have a small core team, which is co-located and works very closely with him, while he completely changes the trajectory and the business model for the company. I mean, if you look at it, there are three sets of things that he is sort of focusing on, or I would say that seems to be his strategy. And I think he hasn't publicly come out with what exactly is the strategy after he takes over from a business perspective, but you can piece together different things based on the tweets you see from him, right? So if you look at these three stakeholders, right, one is the user, the second is the advertisers or people who give revenues, and third is, of course, the content creators or the creator community that produces content and puts on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
On the user side, I think what seems to be happening is that he is going very heavy on verification and making sure that everyone on the platform is actually a human. Now, historically, Twitter used to be a platform where anonymity and pseudonymity was encouraged because it allowed you to be whosoever you wanted to be and speak freely and express your opinion. But if you have to put your name and your identity along with what you say, you become more guarded, and you also worry about the consequences. So I think that has positive impact and also negative impact in terms of anyone could say anything and get away with it, right? So on the user side, he's trying to bring in verification. The charging is a different discussion, which is like, okay, are you getting charged for just the verification? Are you getting charged for the blue subscription? That also includes ad-free content and access to premium content. So that's a different discussion. But I think primarily on the user side, he seems to be wanting to clean the platform and only have verified humans on the platform. So that would lead to probably a reduction in number of bots. It could lead to reduction in sort of fake accounts, and we'll have to see the consequences. That's one part of it. The second part of it,
I'll just stop you. Is this a fruitful sort of pursuit? Does this really mean anything? Not having bots and only having real users on your platform. I mean, what does it solve exactly?
Yeah, it does solve the whole issue about fake accounts, because everyone would have to give in their identity and then be able to speak. So it does solve the issue of fake accounts. It does reduce the bots and etc., which is what he has been against very strongly. But it also means that there will be far fewer discussions and also more guarded discussions on the platform. So, which could also be good because the quality of discussion will go up. But it will also mean that people who fear persecution and people who fear that an action may be taken against them, they may not be very open, right? So it has both pluses and minuses, and I think we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But what it does mean is that a cleaner and a smaller platform, and only comprising of humans, right? I mean, everyone is a unique individual. So that its own advantages also has a downside, right? Now, one is the user side of the strategy. On the revenue side of the strategy, the second one, the platform was very dependent on advertisers. 95% of the revenues came from advertisers, right? Now, what he seems to be doing is that he's trying to diversify the revenue away from advertising to also start subscription. And that is where the $8 Twitter Blue subscription comes in, where if you really find value on the platform and you want to stick around on the platform and you want ad-free content, premium content, you want edit capabilities, you want to be featured, you want to have prioritize access to replies and responses, etc., you end up paying $8. That's a classic freemium model. You looked at LinkedIn, you looked at Spotify, everyone has a freemium model. 90% people don't pay anything and they use the service for free. The 10% people who find value, they pay that $8, $10, $5, whatever is the fee, and they get access to certain features. And that's what he's trying to do. So that's a subscription model. Now, you could argue that that is a good model because even if you say user base in India is 10 million or 20 million, whatever, I don't know the exact number, but even if 10% pay, 10 million, 10% is 1 million, $8 a month is 8 million a month. That's not a bad number for India, right?
Correct.
So I think he is going to mix up advertising as a revenue model along with subscription. I mean, people who pay subscription gets ad free. People who don't pay subscription have pay through the ads they are shown, right? There's a second part of this strategy.
Yeah.
The third part of the strategy is on the content creator side of the creator economy, which is okay. Today, there is no good way for a creator to get compensated on Twitter. I mean, you put out your great content, and I think the reason you're putting out your great content on Twitter is that you're getting distribution. Yeah. And distribution works because when you have a lot of free users, you have huge distribution. The moment you make it behind a paywall or put a paid kind of a model, your distribution will come down. So you have to then provide incentive to creators to put content, and also creators who want to put content where they can make money. So I think that is where he's also thinking about, could we have some kind of a model where there's a revenue share, good content gets created, we have some mechanism for paying the creator and do a rev share with them. And that's also very unique and different because on social media, that has not been tried at scale. I think there are other smaller niche platforms like Patreon and OnlyFans, which do that, which are smaller in size, but they have a healthy business model because, people who create value are paid and people who consume value pay, right?
Right.
And that is where I think he's sort of trying to correct the model, saying, okay, if you are a great content creator and put great content, we want to pay you and do a revenue share. And if you're a user and you're benefiting from that content, you have to pay for that content, right? So I think that's where I think he seems to be going. That's the sense I'm getting from all the discussions on Twitter and on different media platforms.